My name's Stephanie. I'm a compulsive eater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the gray sheet. I write those meals down. I commit them to my sponsor before I eat them. I don't eat in between no matter what. Abstinence is the most important thing without exception, or else I wouldn't have a life. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, Anne, for asking me to share. I cannot top last week's share. I'm still thinking about that. One of my heroes shared at this meeting last week, and thank goodness it was recorded so you can hear it on our YouTube channel. But I'll just tell you my experience, strength, and hope. I focus too much on the what it was like. So I'd rather focus on what it's like now. My absence date is April 12th, 2001. And for that, I'm truly grateful. Before that, I tried for 12 years. I was in and out, not all the time. Some years would go by, I didn't go to any meetings. But when I did go back, it was the same people there that were stable. The stable, circle was there of people that had stayed, and they looked, after a decade, they looked the same. They were still slim, and they had that gray sheet glow. And a couple of them are in this meeting today. It's a real privilege to be in these rooms with them. I guess I wanted to talk more about. Well, I do have one picture I can show you real quick. That was right before I got abstinent, and I was purging. So if I stopped purging, I would gain quite a bit of weight, but I needed to lose 75 pounds. And at 31, the doctor said, you've got to take glucophage, you've got diabetes. My whole family was diabetic. My uncle had both his legs amputated. I thought it was genetic. I really wanted to blame it on my dad's, short, fat farmers, we would say, or genetics, or, the way I was raised or whatever. But I don't, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Basically, I have a physical allergy to certain substances. When I put them in my body, I can't stop. And that's all I think about. And even if I circumvent the weight, food is a problem for me. I needed to really admit that I'm powerless over food, like our first step says, not just powerless over the weight. And that's what really brought me to my knees, was that even if I circumvented the weight, my behavior and attitude toward food was not normal. And it took up every waking moment. But getting abstinent, finally at age 31, I went back to the rooms, and, I knew I needed to stay in the middle of the herd. I really was finally beaten to a state of reasonableness where, before that I had kind of snuck in there and said, oh, I'll get a sponsor. I just need a gray sheet. And I would leave, and I wouldn't take this seriously. I would be disco dieting, basically, kind of flim-flamming my way, trying to do it my way. And what this program has taught me is humility, number one, because before that I was really arrogant. I thought I could do it myself. I thought I could do it differently. I thought I was different. Sometimes I thought that I was not capable of doing this program, or morally, deficient somehow, maybe too mentally ill to do this program. I thought that I didn't deserve it, or I thought that the disease would lie to me and tell me that the people in this room were like goody two shoes, and that they had some characteristic that I didn't have or didn't want. I mean, my disease just tells me all kinds of crazy stuff. And that kept me out for a long time, thinking, why would I want to be like that? When all they tried to offer to me was relief and true release from this disease. So, but before that, I would get a sponsor. The most I could get was 62 days. And then I would blame it on PMS, or some stress at work. There's always a reason to try tomorrow, and that's just never going to work. The right moment is today. The right moment is the next meal. But I really needed to learn humility. For the first time, I got on my knees and prayed to help me to get abstinent and to stay abstinent. I got a sponsor. I didn't sponsor shop. I did what she told me. I went to the meetings. I got there on time. I stayed late and talked to people and really tried to stay in the middle of the herd. I made outreach calls. I did what y'all told me to do. and just hung on. I really needed to let go of self-sufficiency because I thought I could control everything. I thought that I should be self-sufficient. I thought if I asked for help that I was either weak or lazy. And now I know that's not true, that we're human and that I cannot do this by myself. I need everybody in these rooms. All of y'all support my abstinence and keep me abstinent by your, being in this program, because I can't do it alone. And I need you here. I can't talk to what's in my head is it's a bad neighborhood to visit alone. I really need the input of others, and I need to be willing to take suggestions. And that's, so I'm still working on humility. That's a big one for me. The other one is integrity. I will never forget, someone at work said, you have integrity with your lunch there, and I thought, what is she talking about? And I said, oh no, it's just surrender. It's a miracle that I do this on a daily basis, but putting my food on the scale gives me integrity. That's when I stopped lying about my food. And it became very uncomfortable lying in other areas of my life. They say, if you want to figure out why you're eating, stop eating. And that's true. That's what I had to do. And, before that, I really wanted to pray enough or work the steps enough or get enough therapy to stop the eating, but it didn't. And all those things are, of course, very beneficial in recovery. But I had to put down the food first and get a clear head and learn the mechanics of weighing and measuring. And then after 90 days, I could join a AWOL and learn how to work the steps in abstinence. Because before that I did, but I was not rocketed into the fourth dimension. I got some relief out of it temporarily, but I was really still drunk on food and was kind of half stepping it, not really looking at working on other having to have a personality change and to work the steps to get to deal with those defects of character and to actually make amends and do it, a daily 10th step to avoid having to make amends. So the integrity is a big deal. So I found out I can't gossip. I'm very uncomfortable with gossiping, exaggerating, lying about little things, lying by omission, and hiding my feelings. It's really important for me to be honest or to learn to identify my feelings. Even if I don't, do it very well, practice is really helping me identify and talk to my sponsor about that. And that really helps because then I can get guidance about whether or not it's appropriate to share my feelings with others. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's me and I need to work look at my part in it. So if my feelings are hurt, sometimes it's hard to tell, but doing writing on it and looking at my part to see if it's appropriate to set a boundary or if it's really my egocentric difficulty taking criticism or I don't like to deal with conflict. I want to resolve it, even if it's completely abandoning those relationships or disturbing those people so much that they want to get away from me. Just really off-putting behavior. And learning how to negotiate relationships in here has been a big growth process, especially because y'all taught me unconditional love. And I really treated people to try to get them to abandon me, but y'all didn't. You still took outreach calls and still helped me with this. And that's really important for me to stay abstinent. Because I remember telling my sponsor, I'm such a bitch when I'm abstinent. I don't think I can live with myself. And it's just one meal at a time, learning how to behave appropriately and how to practice that, because I can't do it till I practice it. I just didn't practice it, earlier when I should have. So the other thing this program gives me is dignity, because before the shame of not just carrying the weight, but the shame of the way I was eating or behaving around people in social situations, I was always thinking, look at what's on their plate. I want the biggest piece. I want to interrupt this conversation to go get more. Or I'm acting like a good girl, so I'm just going to get the hell out of here so I can go binge by myself. Behavior like that before, when now I can learn to, especially intimacy with women, working the steps and dealing with childhood relationships, with my mother primarily, to try to heal that so that I can trust women and take directions from y'all and to learn what it means to be, thank you, Taisia, what it means to be a sister in recovery, a daughter, an employee, a wife. These are things that negotiating in abstinence is totally different. And so, these milestones are important when we stay abstinent, no matter what, because we get through holidays abstinent. We learn how to do that. We get through situations like I changed jobs, the death of loved ones, the loss of sponsors, the loss of sponsees, and learning how to deal with grief and abstinence is important. Sometimes it's very rare, but the grief would be so bad that we might not want to finish our meal, but we do no matter what. We call our sponsor and deal with that appropriately. And what's crazy is too, I could give you a list of no matter what. We had a flash flood one time, had to move immediately and lost most of our belongings, and ate an abstinent meal in the park over here on ice chest. And, thank God we, got an apartment the next day, and that was it. And sponsees helped us move. So I could tell you a few more, but these crises, those are not what I ate over the most. What I would eat over in here, what I would tend to relapse over is conflicts with people that I love, that I'm terrified that I've let down, that I've disappointed, that might abandon me, or conflicts at work where I could get fired, or just disappointing people, or not learning to set boundaries, being able to say no to somebody. And y'all taught me how to deal with that. Those are those little, what do they call them? Little hangnails that I would eat over, is trying to behave appropriately. And it's actually ironic that, I need to stay abstinent to learn how to do that with dignity and to not be ashamed of my behavior. And that's been critical in staying abstinent. And I'm just so grateful to be here. And, I celebrate this with you. It's really important today. It's kept me alive and kept life worth living between meals. So thank you.